I'm doing okay myself, and what about you?
We're good, we're good. We're all here. It's your stage.
Okay, well, before I go into all of this, let me ask you about how many people are in the room?
We got a lot of people. Anybody good at estimates? 140. 140.
140? Okay, well, y'all sound like the whole university. Thank you for the applause and the ovation. I would like to start by saying, first and foremost, thank you to Spirit for giving me this opportunity and this platform. I've pretty much spent most of my time speaking to Michael, but I know it's a lot of people that's working with Michael who have helped make this opportunity possible for me to speak at this conference this year. So I say thank you to all of you all who have did the legwork in supporting and trying to make this very important conference exist this year. As I have done this film, as far as the talkbacks, so far I did this all over the world. And I say all over the world, from Japan, Russia, Switzerland, Vienna, Pakistan, a lot of different places. But out of all of those venues that I've done it, I've never had the opportunity to do this in prime time. So thank y'all for the opportunity to allow me to do this in prime time. I also, every time that I go into one of the talkbacks after the screening of the film, I try to acknowledge something or someone. And in times past, I have spent time acknowledging activists. I've spent time acknowledging the naysayers, the people in my life who have told me no in so many different points, in so many different ways. The victim, in my case, I've acknowledged him at some point in one of the screenings. This evening, I would like this opportunity, take this opportunity and acknowledge the dreamers in the world. And when I say the dreamers in the world, I ask the question, are you all aware of who John Witherspoon, Aaron Burr Sr., William Tennant, or Jonathan Dickerson is? That's a question to you all. Okay, well, those are some of the founding that I'm aware of because I've done my homework, trust me. Those are some of the founders of Princeton University, and these individuals I consider to be dreamers as well because the ideals that they had so many hundreds of years ago is still thriving and living today. I consider myself also to be a dreamer. If you all have watched the documentary, then you all are aware that I have the dream of one day being able to create a national museum on the death penalty. That is just one of the things that I dream of and one of the things that I'm working towards. I'm also a dreamer of trying to overcome some of the challenges that I've faced in my life, like solitary confinement, where I've been locked up now for the past 25 years. So with that little bit, I just say thank you to all of the dreamers who have inspired me, the ones that I've read about, such as Socrates, Nelson Mandela, Thomas Edison, who was the creator of the light bulb, and even a brother that I am reading about now, his name is Albert Woodfox. Albert Woodfox spent 40 years in solitary confinement in Angola prison in Louisiana. He's now a free individual and he's telling his story, as I hope I will be able to one day. So I dedicate this moment to the dreamers. But one other thing, which is the most important thing of this evening, I would like to also give acknowledgement to this moment especially because if you all watch the film again, you all recognize that I was married in the film. And today is actually my wedding anniversary.
Aww, hey! That's his wife there in the corner.
So I want to acknowledge my wife, wife, who has been with me for 13 years out of the 25 years that I've been here in solitary confinement. She spent a lot of time with me, going through the highs and the lows and the ups and downs. And as I spoke earlier about being a dreamer, whether you all know it or not, we dreamed of these moments. You know, being able to travel the world and go places and promote the ideal of a museum, to tell my story, hoping to get support around the world, with helping me walk out of prison and regain my liberties and all of those things. But I wanted to also acknowledge my lovely wife, Isabel, who I'm aware is in the audience. And I say that seriously to you, Isabel. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for when people have said that you're crazy for falling in love with an individual on death row. When people have said that you shouldn't be in this relationship with me. I thank you, and hey, it's a beautiful moment to be able to share this second anniversary with the students and the people that have came out to hear me speak and to talk to them, baby. I love you. Now, with that said, let's get to the point of why we are really here. The film. Did you all really like the film? What you all think? Well, I asked that you all, if you really enjoyed the film and you think the film is a powerful film, it is my life story, part of my story anyway. And I'm here asking for your support. You know, how do you all help me take this story across America this year? How do you all help me bring attention to the injustice of what is taking place with me? I've been in solitary confinement for 25 years now. I was sentenced to death in 1993. I was only 18 years old. I'm not one to say I'm innocent because I participated in the crime that took place. And even though I did not pull the trigger, I bear some responsibility. However, I don't think that it is a fair judgment and a fair sentence to sentence me to death, nor do I think it's a fair judgment or sentence to lock me up for the rest of my life at 18 years old. It is tantamount to saying that we're going to lock you up and throw away the key in spite of your potential. And they didn't realize the potential that I had in me, because I think if someone would have stood up and said, well, hey, 25 years from now, this young brother would be speaking at Princeton University in spite of the fact y'all talking about trying to kill me, they may would have had reservations about it. As we are here today talking about tracing the violence, I understand that currently in America we are dealing with prison reform, and a lot of people in our society are focused more on dealing with how do we give people a second chance that are nonviolent offenders. I don't want to make it seem as if the nonviolent offenders don't need to have attention and be paid attention to, because I think that a lot of those individuals should not be in the circumstances that they are in. I've watched and witnessed, and I've lived among some of those individuals. But I'm also here to say, hey, we need to focus on the individuals that are in prison unjustly, period. Because I am in prison for a violent crime, but I don't think that I should be under the punishment that I am under, and I don't think that I should be facing what I am facing, execution and those things. I made a mistake when I was young. We all make mistakes. And I think that I deserve to be punished for my mistake. But it is difficult for anybody to have the conversation or debate with me about the fact that I should be executed or the fact that I should be locked up for the rest of my life. I am open to having that debate with anybody. And I believe that I would win that debate in the long run after all that I've experienced and I've learned through the years of being in this cell, dealing with regret, dealing with hopelessness at some point, dealing with forgiveness, being able to forgive myself for making the bad decisions that I made, asking the victim's family to forgive me, and all of those things. And even being able to deal with hate, rage, and anger. I sit here now, in spite of the fact that I didn't pull the trigger and kill anyone, on death row, but I don't hate anybody. I'm not mad at the system. I want to fix the system. I want to change the system. I don't want to walk around being angry at the system because that is doing nothing more but destroying myself from the inside out, and it's not helping the system. With clarity of mind, being able to understand these things, it has put me in a position to be able to talk to you all. I am grateful that I've been given the opportunity to speak about these things and talk about these things. I'm grateful that I've been given the opportunity to once again come to Princeton and share part of my story with you all. And I say thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, I am open to any questions that anyone in the audience may have for me. And don't be shy.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And despite all the adversity you faced being in solitary confinement for the past 25 years, how do you remain hopeful that one day you can work to get out of prison?
Did you hear that, Kenny?
I barely could hear it. Can you repeat that for me?
Despite sort of all the hardship, how do you remain hopeful that one day you'll be free from prison after 25 years incarcerated?
Well, this is the question that a lot of people seem to ask me in many of the talkbacks, and I really contribute that to my wife. As I say, Isabel has been with me for the past 13 years, and though you all may see me in the film as an individual that's strong, that's determined, there have been a lot of down points and periods in my journey here. And there was really a point in period of time where I didn't even want to live anymore, that I was willing to drop my appeals and be executed. And Isabel, she kind of went off on me, you know. She told me that I was giving up on her, you know, that I was giving up on the people that was around me that cared about me and those things. I really contribute a lot of the courage and the strength that I have to Isabel, even though she may say, well, no, you're just a strong individual. That's why I love you, period. Well, I really contribute to her because her coming in my life halfway through this journey, it gave me fuel to continue to push forward, to get to this point to where I'm at now. And literally, hey, I say this to you. Where there is a strong man, there's a stronger woman behind that man. It's a true statement. So I contribute to Isabel.
Nobody applaud
Thank you so much for speaking with us tonight. I'm inspired and I love the documentary, and I'm going to try and share this with as many people as possible. I'm especially inspired by the art that you created while you've been in confinement. And I wanted to ask you what moved you in the first place to create that art and to transform that pain that you were experiencing.
Well, there was an individual that I read a book about. His name was Wilbert Rideau. And Wilbert was an individual who spent 10 years on death row. He was sentenced to death on 3 different occasions. He ended up spending 42 years in prison, in Angola prison. And during reading his book, I was inspired to reach out to him. Wilbert ended up visiting me one day, and he basically told me that I was given this talent for a purpose and a reason. So take it and use it. And before then, a lot of people had basically said the same thing to me, but it was only then that the light bulb went off. So after meeting Wilbert, being inspired by him, I got up with Isabel and started speaking about taking my art and creating art around the history of the death penalty, being that I was on death row. So I started creating artwork, telling stories about the history, the practice, the laws of capital punishment in America. And that's what I'm doing today. So I would say Wilbert, he in a sense pushed me in that direction. And at the same time, I'm here today talking about this film, but I would like to bring an exhibit to Princeton if you all will have me. If anybody in the audience is willing to that idea and open to that idea, that me and Isabel would love to come back and present some of our art to you all. And I think that we will bedazzle young choose to be young.
Please do, I'm interested.
At what point in your journey did you realize that you wanted to use your story as a catalyst for change instead of using that time in solitary confinement to be angry?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that it was me using it to tell my story or what have you, because it really wasn't about me. And that's one of the things that Isabel had tried to say to me. Stop telling everybody else's story and telling your own damn story. You got a powerful one yourself. Stop telling everybody else's story. And I didn't really want to tell my story because I didn't want to make it seem like that I was doing it to get attention about me. But as I have continued to move forward, it seems that my story is just as powerful as a lot of other stories that I have tried to tell about as far as with the criminal justice system and the death penalty. So, hey, it's just by chance that I'm here today telling my story.
What was your initial first, like your initial first emotion when Isabella reached out to you? How did you feel? Like, do you remember those feelings in that moment when you were reading the letter?
Yes, I actually do. I've received a lot of correspondence over the years, and this was about maybe 12 years into my journey, and I had really got to the point where I didn't find interest in corresponding with most of the people that wrote to me, because most of the people that wrote to me, they was writing to me from a standpoint of Jesus is the way, he will save your soul, and all of those things. And though I wasn't against that, I was kind of offended because, hey, you don't even know if I already got Jesus in my life, or you don't even know if I'm a Buddhist or if I'm, a part of Islam or what have you, and you're forcing religion down my throat. Maybe that's not what I need at this point of time. Well, that was different with Isabel. Isabel didn't write to me trying to save my soul or any of those things. She just wrote to me saying, hey, I'm someone in the world that have seen you on television. I think that you have a compelling story, you're interesting, and I just want to let you know that there's someone in the world that's pulling for you. Whoa, who is this? I don't know who it is, but I need to respond back to him. And I really did respond directly back to Isabel because I was in the middle of dealing with court and those things. And I think it was about a month later, I got another letter from Isabel, and she was going off on me. Well, I wrote to you, you haven't responded to me, I haven't heard nothing from you, I don't forget my letter and all of those things. And I think that made me laugh more than anything. And I was like, okay, I need to get up and I write back to Isabel. And I did. And it started the journey that we're on now.
That's my word, girl.
And hey, Preston, I'm feeling you all, man. Y'all feeling this vibe of me speaking to you all because this moment really feel good. This moment really feel good. I can honestly say that.
How you doing, my brother? My name is BJ. I'm the point person for the Black Panther Party Film Festival. I'm the original member of the Black Panther Party. Albert is my comrade. I was with him. Matter of fact, he'll be here in Princeton on the 17th.
Yes.
And he was on solitary for 43 years and 11 months, just for your information. But I would like to submit your film to our committee to see if we can show it. Our festival is the first week in October.
Harlem,
Huh?
Harlem,
In Harlem, New York. Thank you, brother.
Well, this is what I would like to say to you, BJ. You come in strong, so it seems like you got some real activism in you. and thank you for correcting me on Albert or what have you. We have, matter of fact, Albert and I have the same attorney, George Kenneth. He's representing me as well. As far as the film, say, man, take it high and low. You know, bring it to Harlem, bring it to Alaska, bring it to Utah, bring it to any venue, or talk to anybody that you can about this film. My wife is in the audience. You can give her your contact information if you want to stay in touch with me, if you want to help push this film. It is my hopes of being able to use this to help me overcome this situation because I really, really need the support, not just the support from you directly, but the support from anybody that's in the audience that's willing to stand up and help me push back these walls. And this is really not just about, you know, supporting and helping Kenny. It's about the overall picture of this, the injustice of this. So I say, what are you waiting on?
Right on, my brother. I'm standing right here next to your wife, so I'll get that happening. But I am also the curator for our film festival for the art. And right now, I'd like to let you know that I can guarantee we can put up four of your pieces. So you tell her which are your best pieces that you would like to show in Harlem, New York on the first week in February.
The first week in February?
That's right.
Okay, well, Isabel, make sure you get his contact information.
First week in October. 2019.
Okay.
I'm just a little excited talking to you, my brother. I've also talked to the phone to Mamiya Abu Jamal, yes, and I am an activist, you're right.
Yeah, I know Mamiya as well, and I say this to you about Mamiya. When I really started to work towards building the idea for a national museum on capital punishment in America, I wrote to Mamiya and asked for his support, and he wrote back to me through our attorney, Christina Swarns, and he told me something that I had read and heard before, and he said, the best thing that I can give you, not my signature, not any, you know, artifact or any of those things. He was still on death row at that time. He said, the best thing that I can give you is these words. And if you take them in and you use them, you'll get it. And what he said to me was, and mind you, I'm sitting in solitary confinement at that point. I'd probably done about 18 years. And his simple words was, learn how to live outside the box. Whoa, I got it. And right now, I'm living outside the box because, hey, I'm in front of an audience of about 100 and some people in front of, you know, my wife at Princeton University. Even though I'm in this box, I'm outside of this box. So thank you, my man.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for speaking, and the film was amazing. I was wondering what your typical day looks like, what you do, like activities you do between the time you wake up and go to sleep that make you feel like you're living the best to yourself.
Well, my days are different, and I try to make my days different because if you are in solitary confinement, it could be a taxing thing on your whole essence, your mind, your body, your spirit, all of those things. So when I wake up from day to day, I do different things. One day I may just spend time, you know, focusing on how I can get support for my organization. The next day I may wake up and argue with my wife about something that's irrelevant. The next day I may wake up and be focused on creating art or, you know, writing my story. It's many things that I do. But for the common things that I wake up and try to do daily, I meditate every morning that I get up, at least 10 to 15 minutes just to clear my mind from all of the clutter and all of those things. I try to exercise. I don't go outside at all. I'm in solitary confinement pretty much 24 hours a day, in spite of the fact that I am allowed to leave my cell 1 hour a day. But I choose not to go outside because when you go outside, they put you in a pen that's probably about the size of a little dog pen, and it's kind of dehumanizing, and I don't like the effective feel of it. So I'd rather stay in my cell, and then not just that, I feel, hey, I just let an hour of my time slip away outside here, and they treat me like an animal. But being able to stay in my cell for that little hour, even though I I do go outside, here and there just to get some vitamin D and fresh air. But I spend most of my time in my cell. But I do a lot of things in the cell. I read, which has been a powerful thing for me. And I try to keep a focus, focus on what it is that I'm trying to accomplish, what it is that I'm trying to do, and working towards those things. But I don't necessarily have a certain routine other than making sure that I meditate every day and try to do some type of exercise. And I have everything in my cell. This little bitty space is probably about the size of a normal bathroom. It is very small. And if you watch the film, there was a cell that was built, a replica of my cell that Ndume was in. In that cell, I have a television, concrete bar, concrete table, a steel toilet and sink, a shower and lighting, small window and ventilation. That's basically it. And I've been here for 25 long years. And hopefully I won't be here too long if I can get the support of you all and some of this energy that y'all have in the room and make the state of Arkansas pay attention to the story that is coming through the pipeline called Free Men.
Right on.
So one of the parts of the film that really struck me emotionally was when Isabella, that's what I thought. But she said, that when she went in to visit you, you guys weren't allowed to touch. And it reminded me of one of my students who had only been incarcerated for a couple of months, but he said the hardest part for him was that whenever his family, his wife and his kids came to visit him, he couldn't touch them. He couldn't give his children a hug. And that really wore on him. And human beings are really social, tactile creatures. Knowing that many people, the experience of solitary confinement, they just don't make it through, it really wears them down. How do you deal with that lack of just human contact, but especially of touch?
It is difficult. That is just one of the things that people quickly equate solitary confinement to the lack of human touch. It is a difficult thing, especially when you are placed in a situation when you now can touch people or feel things that you haven't in so many years. But it's not just that, it's the taste. When I say the taste, you eat the same food over and over and over again. You don't remember what an apple tastes like. It is the smells. You smell the same stuff day in and day out, so you forget what it smells like to smell the lawn being cut. Or I remember the first time that I walked on grass. I'd been in prison probably about 8 years, and I had the opportunity to walk on grass. It is all of these things that, solitary confinement deprives a person of, not just the aspect of being able to touch someone, which is the first thing that a lot of people, recognize and equate, but it is all of these things. The senses deprivation is a serious thing. Solitary confinement in itself is an unjust thing. I don't care who it is. We should not be doing this. I'm here 25 years later. This stuff has given me strength. It hasn't broke me, but I'm around individuals that it is breaking. There are individuals here today that are literally losing their minds. There's an individual just about 6 months ago, he got a razor and cut his throat from ear to ear simply because he didn't want to live anymore under the pressure of solitary confinement. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be focusing on just the individuals that are nonviolent individuals. We shouldn't be just focusing on some of the stuff that we seem to, I would say, discriminate towards. There's a lot of issues with the criminal justice system that need to be spoke on and need to be talked on a different level. And I'm hoping that I could be able to do that, not just being able to talk about solitary confinement, but all of these things.
Yes, well, just one thing, that won't stop you from kissing him, though.
All right. Yeah, here. Oh, we're gonna go back there.
Okay, Kenny, thank you so much. I really loved your film.
so angry at the system and so angry for you. I know you are so poised without letting that anger take over you. But who can we call to complain? Who can we call to say this is not okay? Is there a direct phone number? Somebody that we can talk to?
Well, this is what I say in response to that. The best thing that you all can do today for me is one, go to the freekennethreams.org website and sign up to be a follower of the Free Kenneth Reams campaign. We are in the early throes of launching that campaign, and at some point we will have key call to action things that we are going to be asking the followers to get involved and do. Signing petitions, calling the Attorney General's office of the state of Arkansas, and many other things that we are going to likely have to do in order to get the state of Arkansas to pay serious attention to me and my circumstance. I don't want to say, well, hey, yeah, go ahead and do this and do that at this juncture. The best thing that you can do is go to the freekennethreams.org page and sign up. And at some point, you will literally get a response back from the campaign advising you of what we are attempting to do, what we need your support with, and all of those things. And another thing, any of you in the audience that may be on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, send out Free Kenneth Reams. Send out Justice for Kenneth Reams. Hashtag that. And continue to do it. Don't just do it because, hey, this evening or whatever. Do it a month from now. You know, do it 3 weeks from now. Do it 5 times tonight on Twitter. You know, tell people the story because it is only through those channels that I will begin to get the necessary attention and support that is needed to hopefully open the doors for me. So I can come to Princeton and be live in action with you all.
Right on.
How are we doing on time, Kenny?
Well, I have really about 1 minute or so left. In fact, the officer is standing in front of my door here telling me this. So,
All right, one last very quick question, Sandra.
Yes.
Quickly.
So the larger your reach, and it's growing, the larger your risk. What is your greatest fear right now with the spotlight growing on you? What is your greatest fear?
what is my greatest fear? Losing Isabel. I hope that Isabel can survive in the world long enough. No, I'm being real. I'm being honest.
You need to get out, don't blame. That should be his main.
Well, I'm being honest. I'm saying that because me and Isabel have dreamed a lot about a lot of things. And what Isabel don't